Well, hi everybody, good morning. Meteorologist Travis Klineski here on this Tuesday morning where it is starting off mostly clear. There are some thin clouds moving in already from the northwest, so we have kind of this mostly clear, almost partly cloudy kind of sky this morning, but there are thicker clouds to the north that'll come in later today. Winds are going to begin to pick up out of the west. They're already really strong out in parts of the panhandle, which is actually, that west wind is really boosting temperatures. As of the time of this recording, it is 50 degrees in Scottsbluff. Most of us are in the 20s and 30s this morning. It's just a little bit warmer in the panhandle with those brisk west winds. As the day goes on, we're going to see some breezy winds today, but I want to point out the winds here. Look at the winds really cranking up. Out in the panhandle all day long, it's going to be windy, but then also up into the northern Nebraska later today, the wind's turning northwesterly and picking up at the end of the day with this front coming through. Sprinkles and light rain. Sprinkles and light rain near and behind that cold front. That front will push south through our area this evening, so the winds will crank up behind it. Northwest winds, 15 to 30 miles per hour, gusts 30 to 45 miles per hour. I wouldn't even rule out late tonight, maybe some 50-mile-an-hour gusts over eastern Nebraska. A second front's actually going to come southward late tonight and tomorrow morning. That kind of just reinforces the cooler air that we'll see heading into our Wednesday. Wednesday morning, winds still strong. Not as strong back to the west here, but still strong right in here. As the day wears on, the winds will back off a bit. So the windiest conditions right away in the morning. Mostly sunny to start, but looking for more increasing cloud cover Wednesday. Cooler day ahead of us Wednesday, increasing cloud cover. Notice by 5 o'clock there, the winds are much lighter. So much lighter winds. Sprinkles or flurries developing out west. A warm front begins to progress eastward Wednesday evening and overnight Wednesday night. That will keep our temperatures from being terribly cold Wednesday night, Thursday morning. Still some sprinkles or flurries into early Thursday. This warm front will usher in the return of warmer air for most of us on Thursday. Not for everybody, though. And this is all going to be just ahead of the next cold front, which is a big push of Arctic air by the end of the week and the upcoming weekend. We'll take a look at that here over the next few minutes. Let's take a look at those highs first off for today. High temperatures will soar today, even better than yesterday's great weather. Most of us were great. Eastern Nebraska, it was a struggle. Only got into the 30s right in here yesterday. So today, 40s and 50s. That's a huge improvement there. Low 60s around the Tri-Cities, mid 60s, and I would not even rule out maybe a few upper 60s here. Well, on these warmer days, we tend to exceed expectations. So I think a lot of these places may push mid and maybe even upper 60s this afternoon. Let's take a closer look around the horn here. We'll start you off in the northwest where the winds will pick up later today and clouds will be increasing here. So mid and upper 50s to right around 60 up north, lower 60s farther to the south. Again, more wind towards the end of the day. The warmest air is going to be here in the southwest, mid 60s, and I think some places get to the upper 60s today. Low 60s around Loop City, Minden, Kearney. Again, cooler to the east. This is still a huge improvement compared to yesterday, where it only got up into the 30s yesterday. It was low and mid 30s yesterday. This is a 20-25 degree jump in temperatures in eastern Nebraska, even if it's cooler. 60 Geneva, 61 Grand Island, St. Paul, Hastings, 62 Red Cloud. Northeast areas, looking at temperatures, again, not as warm, but you know what? 47 is a big improvement in Ponca. 49 is a huge improvement in Blair and West Point. 48 in Pender. But how about 58 in Albion, 59 for Greeley and Fullerton, 55 for O'Neill. Increasing clouds, winds begin to pick up. They'll really crank up tonight. So there's a look at today's temperatures. Because of the winds overnight tonight, despite the cold front or cold fronts in some cases, it's still actually going to be relatively mild tonight. Upper 20s, low to mid 30s for lows. Much cooler tomorrow. Most of us still above average, though. Average high is in the lower 40s. So most of these places still above average. The exception, well, right in here, it's going to be colder. Again, there's that just reinforcing colder air. And this is a trend. We will continue to see this for the next several weeks. I don't see a weather pattern change where it's going to be coldest northeast, warmest southwest. We've been seeing this for a while. This trend won't be changing anytime soon. You're going to see it on almost every single high temperature map ahead of us here. Let's look at tomorrow night. Thursday morning as that warm front begins to push through. 20s and 30s again, that's not bad. Even some 40s out in the panhandle, teens in northeast Nebraska. Thursday, temperatures jump up for most of us. Not everywhere, though. You got that warm front here. And unfortunately, northeastern areas will struggle a bit more in the 40s, 30s, maybe not even to 30 in Sioux City, Iowa, but south of that boundary, 50s and 60s returning. Look at this. I would not rule out 70 in southwest Nebraska on Thursday. It doesn't last long because we have got our next shot of colder air coming, and you can see it underneath the banner up to the north. Thursday night into Friday, we're still in the 20s and lower 30s, but you can see the purple up north. And check this out on Friday. It's going to be colder. 20s and 30s returning. Maybe still some 40s. Again, colder north and northeast, warmer southwest. That trend is not changing anytime soon. So the influences of the colder air not as big off to the southwest. I am going to bring you, I'm going to go into one more forecast map here. So I do have to go into my editor mode for this one. I'm going to show you Saturday, because I think for most of us, Saturday is the coldest day ahead. So there's Saturday right there. Teens and 20s for a lot of us, some 30s in southwest Nebraska, maybe not even to 10 in northeast Nebraska. So this is probably the worst of the cold air to come on Saturday. Saturday night, many places are going to be down in the single digits. I think we could be below zero in northeast Nebraska Saturday night into Sunday morning. After that, temperatures start to come up Sunday, and then especially next week here. Let's take a look at that long range forecast here. We'll look at the 7-day forecast for the Tri-Cities first. There's the next 3 days. Good warm up today. Sprinkles this evening. Cooler tomorrow. Strongest winds will be tonight and tomorrow morning. Tomorrow night, tomorrow evening, sprinkles or flurries. A bump in temperatures on Thursday, and then we are colder Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And the coldest night will be Saturday night right there, down into the single digits. We start to warm back up on Monday. Next week is looking pretty good right now. Back to the 40s and 50s, basically for the final days of fall. I think we end the fall season on a mild note. Final day of fall, I believe, is the 21st. I'm going to check that just to make sure. Yeah, first day of winter is the 21st. So let's check out North Platte. Warm today, becoming windy late this afternoon and tonight. Tomorrow the winds will back off. So cooler tomorrow, still not terrible, but cooler tomorrow. Sprinkles tomorrow evening, warming right back up on Thursday into the 60s. Then getting colder Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, with the coldest day being on Saturday, the coldest night Saturday night. Monday, we are right back up into the 50s, and it's 50s, and I would not rule out 60s again next week. I think we've got warm air returning next week for much of the region. And in fact, the Climate Prediction Center thinks so too. Look at all of this warm air pushing into the region here. So that's going to budge that colder air off to the northeast here, and we're going to be mainly dry. There is not a lot of moisture in store the next couple of weeks here. We'll show you where there are chances, but they're all pretty minimal right now. I've mentioned the sprinkles or light rain coming tonight with the cold front. The next chance of sprinkles or flurries tomorrow evening. It's not much, maybe a little dusting of snow in spots, but I don't think it's much. Other small chances down the road this weekend with the colder air, but there's just not much right now. And then next week, well, here's the weekend. Next week, still not much. We're staying pretty dry next week here. That's the European model through Friday morning. GFS model. Again, sprinkles or light rain tonight, this evening. Not much, though. Sprinkles or flurries tomorrow evening. Maybe a dusting in northeast Nebraska. Here comes the colder air into Friday. So with that colder air, maybe a little snow up north Saturday morning. But looking ahead to next week, there's really not much in our region. Maybe, again, these are all very minimal chances here next week, through the weekend and next week. So nothing big on the way anytime soon. And then, of course, the map that I really wanted to get to you guys here. And again, I've talked about this northwesterly flow, and you can see it here. Northwest flow means the jet stream is moving from northwest to southeast. Kind of like when our winds are northwest winds, they move in that direction. This is northwesterly flow. What tends to happen? Warm air southwest of us, cold air northeast of us. And every once in a while, you get these little clipper shots of colder air, Arctic air, and we're going to get the big blast this weekend of colder air. And you'll see it here. So again, very mild today. We're cooler tomorrow. One little shot of cool air, but we're warming back up on Thursday, and then the bigger shot of colder air Friday and especially Saturday, right there. There's Saturday into Saturday night's the coldest of the air. Sunday, still pretty chilly, but warming up, and then look at that next week. And beyond, most of the country other than the New England states, basically most of the country is mild by the end of next week here. All the cold air is bottled up in northern Canada now. There are some signs of it maybe trying to approach just prior to Christmas. A few models are hinting at it, others aren't though. We'll see. GFS model, again, mild, very mild today. There's the cooler air tomorrow. Trying to warm back up on Thursday, other than eastern Nebraska there. And then Friday getting colder, really cold Saturday and Saturday night is the coldest. GFS isn't as aggressive with the cold air like the European model is. Sunday tries to warm up already some, especially out west. And then next week, maybe a brief little shot of cool air on the Wednesday time frame. European was showing it too. But look at that, the end of next week here, Friday. Now, it still keeps quite a bit of chilly air over the eastern U.S., whereas the European model was just up here. And that colder air is not as far away from us compared to the European model. But still, very mild for the end of next week. So plenty of warmth to come, even though there are some cool spells or cold spells here and there. I would say over the next 2 weeks, next week and a half to 2 weeks, I would say the majority of that time, or at least 60% of that time, is going to be on the warmer, above average side of things. Well, I want to thank you all for watching on this Tuesday morning. I'll be back with you on Wednesday with all the latest. Take care and God bless. Bye.